Hey, what's going on? On behalf of Colonel Chad K. Krzyzewski, commander of the 92nd Operations Official Assembly, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 912th Airfield Squadron Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats.
The ceremony will begin momentarily. We request all electronic devices be silenced or turned off for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Captain Jack Matson, and I'll be your narrator for this event. On behalf of Colonel Chad K. Krzyzewski, commander of the 92nd Operations Group and presiding official for this ceremony, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 912th Air Refueling Squadron Ranger Command. Throughout the ceremony, you'll be given cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. As a reminder, military members in uniform remain at attention and all others place their right hand over their heart during the singing of the national anthem. Before we proceed any further, I would like to remind everyone that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the ceremony has been altered to accommodate current local, state, and base health protection condition measures. At this moment, I am pleased to extend a warm welcome to some very special guests joining us today. Please hold your applause until all guests have been introduced. Beginning with Lieutenant Colonel Brianna McNair's parents, Gary and Vannon McNair, her sister, Elizabeth Medford, and her niece, Lucy. Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Eddington's wife, Katie Edgington, and their daughters, Avery and Charlotte, and his parents, Rick and Lisa. Please give them a hearty welcome. Among our distinguished guests in attendance, we are also pleased to welcome Commander 452nd Air Mobility Wing, Colonel Corey Reed, Command Chief 452nd Air Mobility Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Octavio Ortiz. Commander of the 92nd Mission Support Group, Colonel Charles Fletcher. Commander of the 92nd Healthcare Operations Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Cutter. Command Chief, 92nd Air Refueling Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Daniel Guzman. And Senior Enlisted Leader, 92nd Operations Group, Chief Master Sergeant Leslie Orr. We would also like to welcome all commanders, chiefs, family members, and special friends, and members of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, to thank you for sharing in this special occasion. Sorry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the 452nd Honor Guard and singing of the national anthem by Senior Airman Christiana Thomas and the invocation given by Chaplain Hunt.
Order, heads up!
Post the colors.
Out! Out! Ready, and arm!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets reclaim the bombs bursting in, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, Parade. Head.
Please join me for prayer. Gracious and almighty God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the purpose of this event, for the rich tradition it represents. We all know the challenges of leadership are immense. Being a commander takes diligence, creativity in management, and energy-consuming effort. May the transition today be smooth, and may the family have patience with the long hours and have understandings for the demands of the job. As Lieutenant Colonel Edgington assumes command, may he have the wisdom of Solomon in the decisions that he makes on behalf of this group. And we ask also, God, that you give him the strength of Samson, so every day he can have patience with the job. And God, we ask too that he'll have patience of Job to deal with the ever-changing demands that are going to be placed on him. We humbly ask your blessing upon these two individuals as they pass between them, the guidon of command. As it passes, your strengthening arm, please attend to them both. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Hunt. Today, we will observe a change of command at which Lieutenant Colonel Brianna McNair will pass the reins of responsibility and leadership of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron to Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Eddington. The change of command is deeply rooted military tradition dating back to the time of Frederick the Great of Prussia. In that period, military organizations developed flags with unique and specialized colors and designs. When soldiers follow their, please take a seat, I'm sorry. If the banner still waved after the conflict, it was a sign of victory. Having this position of great importance, the flag was incorporated into ancient Assumption of Command ceremonies. The organizational banner was presented in public for all to see that the holder of the flag is the unchallenged and sovereign leader of the armies. The modern day ceremony is principally symbolic, yet it still announces to all the authority of the incoming commanders in the finest military tradition. At this time, it is my honor to introduce the presiding official for today's ceremony, the commander, 92nd Operations Group, Colonel Chad K. Shiszewski.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me all right? Chief, can you please put the formation at ease?
Eddie.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Thank you for the warm welcome to the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, and thanks for the nice California sunshine. I appreciate the view behind us. The static display looks amazing, and it's really an honor to be here. Before I get started, I'll just share on a personal note. I was actually a member of this squadron up until about 2009 when it was deactivated at Grand Forks Air Force Base. So it was a real honor for me to come down, get a tour of the squadron yesterday, and to see the amazing things the Vipers are doing here at March. So thank you for that. I greatly appreciate it. This morning, I'm going to highlight some of the accomplishments of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron under Lieutenant Colonel Brianna McNair's leadership, and describe for you how Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Eddington is the leader to take this squadron forward. You know, we live in an interesting time. We're being called upon at this very moment to defend the freedom of our partners and allies in both the European and Pacific theaters. And there's no mission that our country undertakes that it just does not rely completely on tanker gas. And the 912 Vipers have never failed to deliver. Before I get into the amazing accomplishments of the 912th, let me mention a few brief thank yous to our chaplain, our national anthem singer, and our narrator, Captain Matson. Thank you for kicking off the ceremony today. And thank you to the whole staff who put this together. I see three of them standing right back there. These events are never easy to pull off, especially when you have a group coming in from out of town that wants a mini squadron tour the day before. It's not lost on us how much work that is. So really appreciate the entire Viper team coming out to do this, and look forward to coming down and visiting you more in the future. A huge thank you also to the 452nd Air Mobility Wing for having such a great TFI partnership with the 912. Specifically, Colonel Corey Reed. Corey and I had a chance to fly C-17s together back at Hickam. It's great to see him doing so well as a leader for your wing here. So thank you for the warm welcome. Chief Ortiz, Lieutenant Colonel Andy Gray, thank you and your team for the warm welcome. And the 912th, Chief Talbot and Senior Baron, thank you yesterday for the tour and helping introduce me to the squadron. Senior Barron, is he here today? Senior Barron, congratulations. Lieutenant Colonel McNair got to announce as one of her last things as commander yesterday, his nomination as a 92nd Air Refueling Wing Lou Allen Award winner. So congratulations to you as well. Woo! I'm glad we got to be a part of that. Congrats. We were also fortunate enough to bring down a few of our leaders from Fairchild Air Force Base today. Colonel Fletcher, sitting in the front row here. Go ahead and wave at him, Fletch. You're good. You're good. You're good. Colonel Fletcher is our brand new Mission Support Group commander. He actually has less time in the seat than me, which says something. I've only been in the seat about a couple of weeks, but I'm very grateful to Colonel Fletcher for not being in the seat that long, but making it a priority in his first couple of weeks of command to hop on a jet, come down here, see some air refueling with our team, and come down and visit the 912th Air Refueling Squadron. I really appreciate that. Lieutenant Colonel Cutter, sitting right next to him, go ahead and wave. One of our squadron commanders in the 92nd Medical Group also came down to make a point of visiting the 912th. And really appreciate your partnership and you both coming down today. Chief Guzman, there he is. He's our wing command chief in the 92nd Air Refueling Wing. I think this is going to be one of his last events before he departs the station. He's been down here numerous times. So Chief, really appreciate you making a final visit to the Vipers and coming to say hi to everybody. Chief Orr, our senior enlisted leader for the 92nd Ops Group, thank you for coming down as well. I know that our 92nd Air Refueling Wing commander, Colonel Cassius Bentley, he's been down here a couple of times. He really wanted to come down. I think it took our entire team in the front row here to convince him to not come down because his household goods were important and he needed to stay back and take care of that. But I know he sends his warm regards as well. But finally, let me get to the real reason we're here today, and that is to welcome, say goodbye to Lieutenant Colonel McNair and welcome Lieutenant Colonel Edgington, who are both on the stage with us. So I'll start by talking a little bit about Lieutenant Colonel Mac McNair and her family. She is joined today by Gary and Bannon McNair. Can you give a wave? Welcome to the family. And they are also joined by her sister, Elizabeth. Thank you all for coming. Mac shared with me that her parents passed on to her a servant leader's heart, which I know has guided her during her leadership here in the 912th Air Refueling Squadron. It's been an epic 2 years for the 912th under Mac's leadership. Yesterday, Mac shared with me how uniquely the 912th Air Refueling Squadron is structured. She described the squadron as a mini wing, and after having visited the squadron, I couldn't agree more. With 33 AFSCs, she told her squadron that they can't do the mission stovepiped into individual groups, and she worked hard during her time at command to make sure that the unit operated as one. She shared with me that her biggest achievement has been letting the Vipers thrive and stepping in only when it was necessary to remove obstacles. And it was under her leadership that the Vipers supported their largest squadron deployment since standing up at March. As part of the deployment, she highlighted her maintenance team on the ground at Al Udeid and their support to Operation Allies Refuge and the Afghanistan retrograde. In 2021 alone, while deployed, the 912th executed 151 combat sorties and delivered over 5.4 million pounds of fuel in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. At home station, she focused on agile combat employment and ensured that 100% of her aircrew were certified for aircraft servicing and pushed to provide more opportunities for hot pit refueling. I think some of the biggest impacts Mac had can be seen through supporting her people. Seeing a gap in professional development, the 912th initiated a professional development series led by senior NCOs. These classes range from leadership to records reviews to mentorship instruction. Additionally, she stood up a leadership development series for the wing. She also led the squadron through the COVID pandemic while taking on many public health responsibilities within the unit and coordinating with the Temecula Clinic directly. Also on the medical front, she focused on developing a medical travel payment process. With her leadership and the support of wing leaders like Lieutenant Colonel Cutter, 912th Airmen now don't have to pay out of pocket when they have required medical appointments at Edwards, Camp Pendleton, or other distant facilities. I know your Vipers greatly appreciate that. Mac has prided herself in taking a fresh look at how airmen are supported in TFI units. She has worked aggressively with our 92nd Mission Support Group to examine how the 912th Air Refueling Squadron is supported by their local MPF and other initiatives to make mission support easier for active duty airmen, or as Mac described it to me, how to unencumber the bureaucracy. Mac, thank you for your selfless service to the men and women of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron. We wish you the best of luck in Hawaii. Your leadership as a weapons officer and a highly experienced tanker pilot are going to do well for the AOC out in Hawaii and for the Air Mobility Division particularly. We're about to pass the guidon, and along with it, the burdens and responsibilities of command. But the mark of your leadership on this squadron will last well into the future. So with that said, the 92nd Operations Group is incredibly fortunate to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Josh Edgington and his family as he assumes command. Edge is joined by his wife, Katie. They are actually getting ready to celebrate your 15th wedding anniversary later this summer, so congratulations to you two. And they are joined by their daughters, Avery and Charlotte. Can you wave? In the matching dresses. Also joining the family today are Josh's parents, Rick and Lisa. I understand they are both currently retired and living in North Carolina, but they raised Josh right here in Southern California. So I'm sure they're excited for the homecoming this week and weekend for the entire family. Also, I understand that it's Dad's birthday this Sunday, so happy birthday, Rick. I hope you have a special day this weekend hanging out with your family here in Southern California. Josh did pass along to me that both his parents instilled in him the values of hard work, integrity, and believing in oneself. These are just a few of the values that got Josh to where he is today. Edge, we are all eager to watch you lead your airmen. And to the 912th Air Refueling Squadron Vipers, you are getting an incredible leader. So let's talk a little bit about Josh Edgington. After graduating from the U.S. Air Force Academy in 2004, Edge was off to Columbus Air Force Base, where he completed pilot training in 2005 and was selected to fly the mighty KC-135 for his first assignment to Fairchild Air Force Base. At Fairchild, he joined the 93rd Air Refueling Squadron, where he was quickly recognized as an outstanding lieutenant and selected as an exec for the 93rd. He also began a long string of forward deployments, where he began to cement his reputation for operational credibility. He quickly deployed to Al Udeid, Manas, and Incirlik, where he began racking up the first of what would become 9 air medals and 3 aerial achievement medals. After an incredibly busy assignment at Fairchild, Edge was rewarded with an assignment to Europe, where he would fly with the 331st Air Refueling Squadron and serve as an instructor pilot and training flight commander. Also importantly, this is where Edge was selected for the KC-135 Weapons School, a graduate level tactics course. During this rigorous six-month program, he presented a paper on KC-135 tactics standardization and received the Weapons School Academic Achievement Award. After returning to Mildenhall as a weapons officer and mastering the European theater, he was selected to move to the Pacific, where he joined the 96th Air Refueling Squadron at Hickam as an assistant director of operations. It was while at Hickam that he was deployed to the CoC for a year in Al Udeid to serve as the chief of the Air Refueling Control Team and the air-to-air refueling lead for the kickoff of Operation Inherent Resolve. Again, all his hard work and talent paid off, and he was selected to serve as an assistant air attaché to Brazil. This meant a year-long assignment for the family, first to Washington, D.C., where he mastered the Portuguese language, learned to fly the C-12, and completed attaché training. I'm sure the family has many wonderful memories from their time in Brasilia, but someone of Edge's background can't stay out of the tanker community for too long. He was eventually stationed back at Fairchild Air Force Base, where he spent the past 2 years as our Director of Operations of the 97th Air Refueling Squadron Astros, and quickly established himself as a leader within our wing and an obvious choice to fly out to take command of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron today. So, what you probably picked up from this brief description of Edge's career is that he has the perfect pedigree to lead the 912th Air Refueling Squadron. To the Vipers standing in the formation today, you are getting the right leader who understands total force integration and relationship building, a leader who understands taking care of airmen and families, even outside the traditional active duty support structure, and a leader who understands mission execution. Edge, this is the right place for you and your family. You are the right leader to carry the 912 guidon and lead this team to new heights. Mac, Edge, congratulations to you both. Let's continue with the ceremony.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Colonel Krzyzewski presents Lieutenant Colonel McNair the Meritorious Service Medal Oak Leaf Cluster.
Publish the order.
And set.
Attention to orders. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster to Lieutenant Colonel Brown and McNair for outstanding service 19 July 2019 to 7 July 2022. Lieutenant Colonel McNair distinguished herself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as a commander of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, 92nd Operations Group, 92nd Air Refueling Wing, March Air Reserve Base, California. Colonel McNair's exceptional leadership through the pandemic was crucial to the stand-up of March's first joint COVID-19 pod, providing 182 vaccinations to Navy, National Guard, Air Force Reserve, and active duty members. Moreover, she drove a total force effort to improve base housing allowance, securing a 16% increase for all airmen assigned to March. In addition, she coordinated with Air Mobility Command's Surgeon General, the Defense Health Agency, and 3 wings to reshape medical support, gaining medical travel reimbursements for her airmen and establishing a deployment medical process key to facilitating the squadron's largest deployment since 2011. Finally, her bias towards action was realized with the reestablishment of Air Mobility Command's Total Force Council in April 2022, following a year-long coordination effort. Colonel McNair's leadership was critical to her unit earning wing nominations for the Leo Marquez, General Welsh, David C. Schilling, and Spatz Awards, and significantly contributed to the 92nd Air Refueling Wing's Outstanding Unit and the 452nd Air Mobility Wing's Lieutenant General Sherrod Award wins. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel McNair reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Ready, set.
And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the commander of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Brianna McNair.
Thank you. Thank you first to Colonel Krzyzewski, new to the 92nd OG. This is your first official travel event, if I'm not mistaken, and you chose to travel down here to officiate the 912th change of command ceremony. Thank you so much for taking the time and bringing this large contingent of advocates and leaders from Fairchild down with you, knowing that there will be a focus on supporting the Vipers going forward, and I appreciate that greatly. Thank you to Captain Dean, Sergeant Holmes, Ishmael. Thank you so much for running the logistics and putting this amazing ceremony on. Thank you to Senior Airman Thomas, where she went. That was a great rendition. You hit the high note really well. Thank you, Chaplain Hunt, both for the invocation as well as the support over the last couple of years. 762 days ago, when the US was about to crush the curve through work stoppages, in-home quarantines, maximization of telework, the 912th execs pressed upload and sent the 912 change of commands pre-recorded video out to YouTube and the cloud to record for history the change of leadership. I stepped into the commander's office, which was a very long walk from the DOs, and I looked around at an empty squadron. I said, how am I going to get through this? Or how are we going to get through this? 25 months later, the airmen in the 912th, you have lived up to the mission statement that you created, Vipers fueling the mission together. You lived up to your history of getting the mission done, overcoming all obstacles and ensuring freedom to our nation by meeting our nation's call. Before I recap some of the amazing things that I've seen you accomplish in the last 2 years, I want to remind you of the history that you are a part of, the Red Feather Club. Now, this is going to be a little bit outside of the normal change of command, but if you'll allow me, I would like to pay homage to our past and chat just a moment with you guys about the 412th Bombardment Squadron, from which came the current squadron standing here before you today. You see, the 412th Bombardment Squadron was first activated in 42. They did their training flying B-17s at Geiger Field, so our connection to Spokane, where our ADCOM wing lives today. They then saw combat in the European theater under the 95th Bombardment Group, the only group to earn 3 distinguished unit citations from the 8th Air Force. Two of those distinguished unit citations, one from 17 August 1943 and the other from 10 October 1943, hang upon our guidon today, reminding us of our history. Both citations are for maintaining defensive formation position while executing and successfully delivering the bombing runs despite severe attacks by enemy interceptor aircrafts and intense flak. The third citation, which came on 4 March 1944, was given for when the squadron attacked Berlin, despite adverse weather that led other units to either abandon the operation or attack secondary targets. Despite snowstorms and heavy cloud cover, the unit struck its target while under attack from enemy fighters. This was the first time any unit from the 8th Air Force or any unit total had bombed Berlin during daylight hours. 78 years, 4 months, 3 days ago. The history of that date, 4 March 1944. The events that unfolded following those bombing runs should be remembered. That date is missing from our guide on today. So if you will allow me a moment to pay homage to my past, I would like to return that date, the citation, to its rightful place. Chief, you put the squadron up.
Squadron, and up.
Thank you, Chief. Please put the squadron at ease.
At ease.
Thank you for that moment. It has been an honor and a privilege to lead the Vipers through these last 2 years, carrying on the tradition of those who've gone before. 2 years ago, I challenged the Vipers to be bold, to have bold integrity, to have bold ideas and bold excellence. They took that challenge and they ran with it. Bold integrity. That was demonstrated when one of our newest ALS graduates ID'd unsafe work being accomplished by a contractor. He called knock it off and elevated it to his chain. His actions prevented a potential Class A mishap across the entire map and led to a freeze on a contract impacting KC-135 engine washes across 9 bases until safety measures could be put into place. It takes integrity to speak up, and he did it, and his supervisors supported. It was in bold integrity that led our wheel and tire shop folks to ID defects on C-17 tires. They didn't just ID that, though. They went to the SPO, the distributor, and the MAGCOM, and were able to create a distribution process that completely eliminated that defect, directly impacting the supply line, saving over $1 million a year, and increasing capability across the map. Bold ideas. I could go on and on about the innovations the Vipers had. For one inspired captain, I only tasked him to go fix things. He took that and ran. Captain Chambers reinvented the entire klaxon system at this base, taking what was estimated to be a $700,000 project, and with off-the-shelf parts, he replaced it for $20,000. Our AR shop created a one-time inspection for the cove-lip doors, and when the process was stalling out, they applied a 6 Sigma lean process to reduce the amount of man-hours required by 36%, reducing the amount of time for each inspection from 13 to just 3 days, and getting jets back on the line to get after the mission. Bold excellence. The mission never stopped with the 912 ARS, despite the pandemic, support issues, or any other obstacle that came your way. 2021 saw the squadron deploy the largest amount of personnel since standing up at March, with 28 UTCs supporting over 3,000 days combined across 5 areas of responsibility. 28,000 hours of lethal combat were supported. We pushed through COVID, overcoming more than 250 mandated ROMs. Working with our joint partners, we stood up the first COVID vaccination pod supporting Navy, Guard, AFRIC, 492 Attack Squadron, and ourselves. We pushed past not having a housing office on base. We worked with our sister squadron to support and fight for BAH, seeing an increase of more than 16%. Medical support has been problematic, but that didn't stop you all. We advocated for and obtained medical travel to compensate for the drive time, ensuring our airmen were cared for. The Vipers pursued excellence in education. They obtained more than 2,000 CCAFs, bachelor's and master's degrees. When the Education Center was unable to visit due to the pandemic, my senior CEOs didn't care. They stepped up, creating professional development series, offering more than 25 classes on anything from EPR, records review, mentorship, and more. As Colonel Reed said it, we live in a resource desert, but that didn't stop you. Not only did you create for yourself ways of obtaining excellence, the Vipers then extended that to the wing and the community beyond, volunteering in cleanup efforts in Moreno Valley, reaching out to Monroe Elementary, and volunteering at the Air Museum. After developing professionals within the squadron, you guys reached out and helped the 452 wing stand up their own leadership development series, which now reaches more than 4,000 total force airmen. And last but not least, at last count, Vipers added 22 babies to the squadron. Those are the ones that I know of. All I can say is the one privileged enough to lead you all. Well done. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for taking my charge to be Viper bold and running with it beyond my wildest expectations. In no way am I standing here today, though, without a cast of many who have supported me along this challenging journey. Colonel Reed, Chief Ortiz, thank you so much for your support and your constant engagement to help secure support for our airmen and all airmen across the space. I know Colonel Bentley's not here, but Chief, you can take these words back. COVID prevented travel to our base for the first year. But when you two were able to get boots on the ground, wow. Walls that we had been pushing against for a while crumbled due to your advocacy, and support that we thought unobtainable became real due to your persistence. Please take that back to Colonel Bentley, but thank you. Colonel Gray, I know you're new to the seat, but I'm excited to see you lead this group. Through those short, thank you for your support and engagement. Colonel Howard, thank you so much for your leadership. And Chief Ward, you've only been here a couple of months and you've been here twice. Thank you so much for coming back, all within a quarter. There are so many leaders, mentors, and peers who have come along beside me over the last 2 years. Sharon Courtney, Mary Goldsmith, Chuck Connor, Rhino, Matt Amfeld, Chief Sammons, Chief Artiaga, Grim Gould. The list is so long, and if I left you out, I apologize. Thank you so much for offering a listening ear when I needed to vent. You provided assistance and advice on how to navigate being an active duty member on a reserve base. I probably still don't understand your funding lines, but you helped me through it. I would be remiss not to thank the Military Affairs Committee and the March JPA. Thank you for your constant efforts to make this place better. Your advocacy to Washington, D.C. and Headquarters Scott on behalf of the airmen cannot be understated. Thank you, Jamil, Cindy, Mr. Connor. Thank you, Chuck. And thank you, Greg, for our partnership with the museum. My airmen have loved being able to work side by side with your team on several restorations. Finally, within the Viper family, a special thank you to my leadership team, lovingly called the Illuminati. Almost all the faces have changed over the last 2 years, but for both the past and the present, the team remains strong, and probably the #1 reason why the Vipers have done so well. Chief Johnson, if you're watching the streaming, I'm not sure, thank you. And thank you for your wise words, calm demeanor to walk me back from the cliff on more than one occasion. Your leadership. I could not have made it through the first year without your mentorship. Sheriff Glowicki, thank you for helping me through some of the craziest legal issues I've ever seen. You know, it's not good when an experienced shirt who's been a shirt for 6 years tells you, wow, I've had more firsts with you than any other commander. But we made it through. We got through almost all the crazy stuff. And then Jeff, you filled it. Jeff, you didn't miss a beat, and your love for the airmen ensured that we got through the last 6 months. Thank you for giving your all to take care of the Vipers. Senior Baron, thank you so much for stepping in brilliantly for the gap between the two chiefs. DG from Senior NCOA is a validation of what we already knew. You're a rock star, and I look forward to seeing you put that last stripe on. Chief Talbot, new to the team, welcome. Your enthusiasm about getting after the mission while taking care of the airmen is infectious, and I have no doubt the airmen are going to exceed expectations under your lead. Conley, Arroyo, thank you for stepping up. Senior selects both, well-deserved, and Senior Samaro, thank you for stepping in immediately and filling our ops superintendent role. Major Cullen, thank you for stepping up to the D role. Continue to grow in that place. We would not have put you there if we didn't think that you could do it. And Major Valela, thank you for coming beside Cullen to pull him along. Michelle, thank you so much for being my counterpart. She flew all the way back from Colorado. She just moved 3 weeks ago. So I appreciate her coming all the way back. She provided mentorship that I desperately needed, and your diplomacy, something I needed, and skill helped create opportunities to get after the high-end fight that we really did. Thank you so much for flying all the way back here to support, and I truly cherish our friendship. Words can't express. There you are. Oops. There you are. Words can't express how happy I am that Colonel Davis hired you to be my DO for the entire time. He knew I needed it. Now, all of this would not have been possible without the unending faithfulness of my Lord Jesus Christ. His mercy was new every single morning, smog or not. I placed my faith, frustrations in him, and he carried me through. That faith has stemmed from the other pillars of strength that carried me through the last 2 years, and really has carried me through my entire career. Mom and Dad, Gary and Vannon, thank you so much for everything, for setting aside the much needed 30-minute decompression time you know I needed every single day. I would call them almost every day driving home from work. A lot of times it was just to decompress, vent, sometimes share crazy ideas, or to talk about the crazy California drivers on the 250. No matter what the conversation was, they always picked up the phone, they listened and provided words of support and empathy. Those phone calls I cherish along with all of the other support you've given. And a huge thanks to my sister, Elizabeth, and thank you, Lucy, for coming out here all the way. For all of you, I'd like to present you with a small gift. Ushers, if you can grab the 3 bags. It's a small gift, something to help prepare you for your next visit to my house in Hawaii. It's some matching Hawaiian shirts. Edge, you're taking over an amazing squadron. Vipers, you're getting an amazing KC-135 truly experienced leader. Together, I can't imagine what you will accomplish. If I may offer my 2 cents, your senior NCO Corps rocks. Use that as a tool. I've never seen so many awesome leaders in such a small section. Your Illuminati are the best resource you have. Listen, and they will keep you on the right path. Some folks say you need to try to make your boss's boss happy. My advice to you is to take care of the airmen. If you take care of the airmen, get out in front when they need it to push the obstacles aside. Trust me, the airmen will make the mission happen. Look for ways to support them so they can get after the mission. Airmen first, mission always. Viper bold. Mahalo.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, the men and women of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron would like to render a final salute to Lieutenant Colonel McNair. Thank you for your commitment to service and your time leading the Vipers to great success. You will sincerely be missed.
Squadron. And up. Set. On. Hold up. On. Ready. Next.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with the change of command for the 912th Air Refueling Squadron. This transfer symbolizes the continuity of command in the armed forces. The flag is the physical manifestation of command and is passed from Lieutenant Colonel McNair to Colonel Krasiski, who will then pass it to Lieutenant Colonel Edgington as a sign of the transfer of command. Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force Special Order Number Golf Oscar 2208. Under the provisions of the Air Force Instruction 51-604, effective 7 July 2022, Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Edgington assumes command of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, March Air Reserve Base, California. It is now my privilege to present to you the commander of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Joshua J. Edgington. Please be seated.
Good morning, everyone. Colonel Reese, Colonel Fletcher, Colonel Howard, Lieutenant Colonel Gray, Chief Guzman, Chief Ortiz, Chief Orr, other senior leadership in attendance, fellow squadron commanders, good morning, and thank you for being here. Colonel Stashevsky, thank you for instilling your confidence in me. I promise not to let you down. Jamil and Greg, thank you for all you do to support March Air Reserve Base in the 912th. Thank you to Captain Dean, Sergeant Holmes, and your entire team for putting on this ceremony. You guys did a great job. I'm proud of you. And I want to thank God for surrounding me with such great people and for his daily wisdom and guidance. General Goldfein said, Squadron Command is the single most difficult, most challenging, and most rewarding professional experience of your career. I can imagine no position which gives one the ability to positively influence both the lives of airmen and mission capability of the U.S. Air Force more than Squadron Command. I am truly humbled to stand before you today. Mom and Dad, I'm so fortunate to have you here. Thank you for raising a God-fearing man and always being there. Whether it was at soccer practice or during the tough times, I wouldn't be standing here without your guidance and your love. Avery, Charlotte, your youthful energy and curiosity gives me hope for our future. Thank you for being such adaptable and resilient, fun little girls. I look forward to seeing the beautiful women you will grow up to be. Babe, it's been a heck of a ride. I couldn't imagine this journey without you and can't wait to see what the coming years have in store. I thank you, and the Vipers thank you for the help you're about to provide through these next 2 years. Mac, your passion for the airmen and mission of the 912th is enough to brag about their latest creative project, what they've overcome. Thank you for treating this squadron like family. You've left enormous shoes to fill, and best of luck in your future endeavors. And finally, men and women of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron, in the short time I've spent at March, I've witnessed the outsized role you play in accomplishing this wing's mission. I publicly promise to give you 100% every day, continuing to fight for you and your families, both personally and professionally. We're going to continue to ask for your dedication and sacrifice as we enhance our combat capability. The world is not getting safer. Near-peer and revisionist threats are at freedom's doorstep, presenting a new and dynamic set of challenges to our national defense. In lockstep with our reserve brethren, we will rise and train to meet these challenges. But I can promise you, we're also going to have fun. So everyone, please enjoy the provided tacos and some cake and socialize for a while. Then we'll get to work. Vipers, let's go.
At this time, the men and women of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron would like to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Edgerton to a first salute.
Squadron, hands up, present, arm. Order, arm. Parade, yes.
Thank you, sir. The men and women of the 912th Air Refueling Squadron would also like to take this time to extend a warm welcome to your family. We look forward to your integration into the 912th Air Refueling Squadron and your devotion to the men and women of the 452nd Air Mobility Wing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's change of command ceremony. In keeping with military tradition, please stand as we conclude with the singing of the Air Force song, followed by the departure of the official party. Please remain in place until the official party has departed the area.
Order, hands up.
Go wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. People come to meet our thunder, and I'm never down. We go, and we go off the one hell of a road. We live and down. Hey, nothing to stop for you to say, boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in congratulating Lieutenant Colonel Edgington for a reception here inside the hangar. Tacos will be provided. On behalf of Colonel Krzyzewski and Lieutenant Colonel Edgington, thank you for your support and attendance at today's ceremony. Have a great day.
Order. Dismiss.
Nice work powering through, bro.